Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and today we are going to be talking about the elf.
So I'm assuming you found it like that?
So this movie is basically about a killer elf. It opens with a scene of a bearded man who I gathered to be what I'm kind of assuming is Santa. Really disheveled, kind of messed up Santa. They never really get into that, but that's kind of the vibe he gives off, and just by like what he looks like and his kind of outfit and everything that's going on at the time. And he basically drops dead within the first few seconds of this film by the hands of an unknown creature at this time. Flashes to the next scene, which is these two people that we know absolutely nothing about going through this antique shop, which is obviously turns out to be the shop owned by this Santa. That's what we're gonna call him, because don't know what he is. That's what he seemed like. For whatever reason, the man of the couple has obtained this antique shop, and they're going through it, and he opens the chest where this elf is, and basically reads all this mumbo jumbo about how he's now connected to said item, and he has this list where one name can be chosen to be crossed off the naughty list, and it's up to him to decide who, and he finds this very creepy looking elf, and then while reading these kind of rules of now you're attached to this object, he ends up with some sort of mark on his wrist, just to let you know he's really attached to this. If you can't already kind of tell by the tone of my voice, not a fan of this movie. The fact that the second shot is the creepy store shot, just made for not a lot of info on this couple or what's going on with them. You know, that kind of couple this kind of supernatural, haunted figure, whatever type of films, there's almost always that kind of scene of going to some mysterious shop and looking through some mysterious book, but it's usually later on in the film after some shit's already happened. This one, second scene in, and you have no information on these characters whatsoever, and you basically don't through most of this film. There's really not a lot of backstory on these characters. I'm just gonna go ahead and say right from the beginning, not a great film. This movie really was not good at all. Like I was saying, no character backstory really throughout the entire thing. They're very vague about things. When they are in that shop, when it first shoots to them, she is going through this book, and she's talking to him about how it's a book that toy makers would keep photos and tracks of the toys that they make. No information on how she knows that, because they just seem to be some kind of random couple that he somehow, I guess, is related to Santa and got the shop when he died. No information on that either throughout the entire thing. And so she's going through this book and she's like, but it's empty. And he's like, well, then maybe he just, never finished. And she was like, well, no, because he was making toys, but it was just the same toy. So that she goes, I guess, to the back, like front of the book, and is showing him like one photo, and he picks it up and he's looking at it all like, oh. And then she's picking up another photo to show him like, oh, same toys or whatever. And he's still looking at the first photo being like, ah, and she's like, ah, and there's a little, ah, about nothing. That doesn't make any sense. And you're just like, well, the book was empty. Which, how many of us out there have like started a scrapbook that we never finished? I have one full of pictures from when I was younger. Never finished filling up. Still have it. Probably never will finish it up. So that whole weirdness is going on with the book. He then wanders off to leave his girlfriend on her own with a creepy book, and goes to the back where he then found the chest, and it starts to snow back there, which is weird, but part of the whole thing. So then they go home, and Elf is on the shelf at home. And I'm not gonna lie, I went into this movie being like, we got an elf on the shelf this year, and I went into it being like, I'm gonna be terrified of the elf on our shelf. It was kind of a little creepy. No, this movie didn't scare me away from toy elves, like I kind of expected it to. Kind of a bummer, I guess. Anyway, they get home. Creepy elf is on the shelf. They then have the most obnoxious conversation about it, and literally, like, basically every conversation between these two characters is like the worst. They're like the worst couple on the planet. Okay, maybe not. There's definitely some more horrible people out there, but their conversation skills with each other are 0%. They literally, like, she will sit there and ask him something, and he will give, like, the vaguest response to it. So he's, like, freaking out, staring at the elf, and of course she thinks, like, he's fucking with her, and because he hates Christmas. So that's another thing. When they're at the store, she has a conversation with what I am assuming is supposed to be her sister. They don't elaborate really on who anyone is in this film. Anyway, she's on the phone having a conversation with her sister, and she's talking about how, oh, you know, he hates this time of year, like it's hard for him, because Dad is Santa. She doesn't say that, but I'm just putting that out there. And then, like, after they hang up on the phone and they're driving home, she's like bitching about how he hates Christmas and how basically, like, his mental health issues are fucking up her Christmas spirit. And so, yes, then and that just adds to their horribleness as a couple. Get home, elf on shelf. She thinks he's fucking with her. He's just standing there in a trance, staring at the now empty shelf. And then she's just kind of like, what's going on? And he's like, I didn't bring it home. And she's like, what do you mean you didn't bring it home? And he's like, I didn't bring it home. And that's like how almost every conversation goes between these two. Because then the next shot is they are sitting on a couch staring at Elf on a chair. And yes, I'm gonna keep making Elf on a shelf jokes. I'm sorry. It's gonna happen throughout this entire thing. So, Elf on a chair, and and they're like, she's like, kind of trying to ask him about it, and he just keeps being like vague beyond belief. So instead of like sitting your significant other down and going like, okay, this is what happened. I went to the back of the store, found that creepy fucking elf. I swear I left it there, but I did read the thing that said it's now like attached to me and my responsibility to deal with, and now it's in our house. I know it sounds crazy, but she really kind of thinks he's crazy, and so, like, yeah, instead of having, like, honest conversation between the two of them, he's sitting there just being, like, again, vague as fuck, and he just is basically giving her, like, one little phrase response to everything. Like, she's like, you know, what's going on? He's just like, I found the elf, like, at the store. And she's just kind of like, okay. And then he, like, you know, tells her about the chest. Then you know, tells her about the list. And then she's like asking again, okay? And then, you know, he tells her basically to follow them. And of course, she ends up doing the thing of throwing it out, which, as we all know, never works. And so many of their conversations throughout this are like that. And their entire relationship is just completely bonkers. Like, she will go from being, you know, supportive and defensive of, you know, him and the fact that he clearly suffers from PTSD and mental illness. And then, like, the next moment, she's being, like, a complete bitch because he doesn't like fucking Christmas, when she literally knows that this time of year is hard for him. But, at the same time, you can't completely blame her because, again, very vague dude. Never wants to talk about shit. So, there's just, like, the worst couple ever, and again, like, another thing, like I'm saying, there's no background story on these characters. You really don't find out what is up with this guy. Like, why does he hate Christmas so much? Like, what happened to him? There are, like, some flashback scenes, and there are parts where that I did feel like were kind of done okay, where, like, the elf will make, like, this kind of certain noise before he's, like, getting ready to attack, I guess, and, like, certain things will happen that'll kind of trigger his PTSD, and he goes into this very, like, intense trance, and his acting wasn't bad in those moments, and I felt like they kind of handled that side effect of PTSD pretty well, so I will give them props for that. And the acting in general wasn't horrible between these two characters. I definitely think the girl did quite a good job. I will say a little bit disappointed because she has the perfect looks of a Scream queen, in my opinion, especially kind of like the new age Scream queens that we have, you know, where they're not necessarily like the goody two shoes girl, which I'm really loving, but she doesn't have the Scream for it. I think she has the acting ability, and I think she definitely has the looks, and maybe it's just this film, and maybe directors, writers, whatever, didn't want to go for, you know, ear-curling Scream, so maybe she has it in her. Have to see if she's in anything else, because I did think that the actors did pretty good. I just didn't think, just the rest of the film wasn't great. I don't know if it was the writing, if it was the directing. I feel like maybe there was a lot of stuff cut out, and I did watch this on Amazon Prime, and it, you know, it wasn't like a made-for-TV version or anything like that. It was just, it felt like in post, during the editing of the film, for whatever reason, maybe they just cut out parts that, you know, to make the film shorter, because it is about an hour and a half, and I think they probably would have been better if they had maybe made it 2 hours, because there's, again, no character information on this, and so much missing from this film. There's also a very kind of, you know, you don't know, again, you don't know how these people got this shop, you don't know why they're in this town. She's talking about how she's never met any of his family, and he's talking about how hard that is. You find out that they've been engaged after 3 months, which is crazy. Like I said before, you don't really find out any background information on these people, why they're there, what's going on. I mean, you do know that they're there because he has, you know, Santa died, and this guy, like, inherited this shop, and I guess the house that they're staying in as well, and they're in, like, this small town where there's, like, basically no people, and this elf causes it to snow, which is also kind of weird, and at one point she basically brings in her family, and surprises him, again, knowing that Christmas is hard on him. It is not his holiday. And yet she's like, surprise! I'm bringing over a bunch of people, even though you clearly don't want to be here. You clearly just wanted to come see the stuff and leave. Like at one point he's like, let's just pack up, let's go, let's leave, let's forget about this place, forget about the fucking elf, let's just go back to wherever their home is. And she's just like, surprise, my family, who are assholes and clearly don't like you, are here. And there's all this drama with that. And then you get to the ending where the explanation for the toy making and the list and all of this stuff doesn't make any sense. So they try to add in this like fucking weird ass explanation, and spoiler alert, that basically the toy maker, it's hard because they don't go into quite enough detail for it to make sense, but basically that the toy maker was making these toys out of real people. The elf kills people and they kind of make this same like stance and look. They all have this very similar like face, and that is kind of the basic explanation, and I just felt it was kind of silly and didn't really need to be added in there. You could have just kept with, it's got a crazy evil elf. That's all you really need. You don't need some in-depth explanation. And then at one point there's more stuff with this naughty list, where their names obviously get added to it, as well as I guess the names of other people that they know, and they fight over the list. She wants to, you know, obviously survive and tries to scratch her name off the list, and then when he's like, fuck no, give me my list back, she gets like really pissed off, like, oh my god, I can't believe you're gonna let me die. And he's like, you're trying to let me die, you're like wrestling me for the list. I'm like basically on the floor dying, having like another PTSD attack, and you're just like, I'm gonna steal the list out of your pocket, little crazy elf boys flinging a knife around. And yeah, it's just a whole lot of mess of a film. I do apologize that this review had to be so negative. You know, I try to like to keep things nice on my channel, but this one was just not a good time. So is this one worth it? Hell no. And you guys know that I don't usually say that. Even if I don't really like a film, I sometimes will be like, yeah, but there's these reasons as to why you may still enjoy it, you may want to check it out. For this one, no, really not worth the time at all. It's a great concept for a film, which is why I wanted to watch it. You know, I didn't just pick it because it was a Christmas movie. I really did want to see it because I thought, ooh, this is gonna be freaky, scary haunted doll. Thought it was definitely gonna take like a puppet master route. And I think maybe that's part of the problem, is the fact that it kind of does seem to kind of copy off of that a little bit, but not in a good way. They definitely did not do it as well, because I happen to like the Puppet Master films. I know they're not for everybody, and this definitely is no Puppet Master. Anyway, if you've seen The Elf, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. And an additional question for you, let me know what your favorite haunted doll film is. And if you did enjoy this review, please do give it a big old thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more horror related content. Make sure you ring that little bell so that you can try to be notified. Also, FYI, I recently figured out if you hit that bell and then the option that pops up, it'll give you the option to select all or like occasional. So if you have clicked the bell and you're not getting notifications, not just from me, but other channels as well, definitely make sure that you check that, because that's kind of what I had to do. Anyway, and before I go, quick shout out to my Patreon. Thank you guys so much for helping to contribute to the channel. You know, it means the world to me. If you want to know the perks to being a Patreon, Link is in the description below, as well as all of my other social media. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later with another video. Bye.